everyone, and welcome to yet another video. Today we're going to go ahead and cover my top 10 summer designer fragrances for the year 2016. Now, this is a list that I do every single year, and it's always been getting better for me. I'm finding better and better fragrances that I love for the summer, and it's just been fantastic. All right, so just a couple things before I actually get started. First thing, number one, what do I consider summer? I live in New York City. New York City can get cold, and in the summer, more particularly, it gets pretty freaking hot. It gets hot, it gets humid, and at some times, you get little bursts of cold, but overall, the temperature is going to kind of range anywhere between like 75 and 100 degrees. It's going to get pretty hot, but at the same time, it kind of can temper down. So I'm looking for fragrances mostly that are going to do good in hot weather. Fragrances that aren't going to get too stuffy, too cloying, and choke people out. Fragrances that aren't going to really offend people. That's majority of my fragrances. But at the same time, I'm going to want some night fragrances. Fragrances that I can wear where it's going to be a little bit cooler outside, it's still going to be warm, and fragrances that'll kind of fit that mold. That's what I'm looking for. Alright, so without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get started and jump right into the video. Now, there's one honorable mention. The honorable mention I'm going to bring up is Bleu de Chanel from the house of Chanel. Now, this gets an honorable mention because it is almost always in my rotation almost every single year. And not just on the summer, but for the fall, for the spring, for the winter, I wear it almost all the time. So Bleu de Chanel is kind of like a workhorse fragrance for me. It's a fragrance that I feel just as comfortable wearing outside, meeting, greeting people, but at the same time I feel really comfortable wearing it to work. So it's a fragrance that fits those bills, all right? So it gets honorable mention because it could easily jump up there in the top fragrances, but at the same time, there are other fragrances that I wear that are a little bit more suited towards summer for me. So it just barely hit the honorable mention list. Otherwise, I would have made a top 11. All right? So Bleu de Chanel. But there's also another fragrance that kind of fits its bill that I've been wearing or will be wearing when the summer one comes up. Now, starting with number 10. Fragrance number 10 is a fragrance that it's kind of a blast from the past, if you will. The fragrance we're talking about is called, what great timing on that, Bulgari Aqua, right? It's the little disc right here, so you can see. Now this fragrance I really like because I think it's such a great fragrance for the wet parts, or the times where it gets a little bit wet, when it's raining, when it's dewy outside. This has kind of like a seaweed vibe to it, and it's got a sea salty vibe that just works magical on my skin, right? And so for it, this is a fragrance that I wear when it starts to get rain, when it starts to get a little bit wet. Strictly specialized for those circumstances for me. So Bulgari Aqua. Number 9 is a fragrance from the house of Dior. We're talking about Dior's Eau Sauvage. Now, Dior's Eau Sauvage, this fragrance, it's more of my suit and tie fragrance. When it's the summer and it gets pretty hot, I really don't like wearing suits in the summer just because it just gets really sweaty. It gets hot. It gets really stuffy. This kind of takes the temperature down a little. I like the way that the vetiver works with this fragrance, and I really like the way that it still brings out a little bit of a citrusy vibe to it, and it really kind of fits that suit and tie elegance, if you will. And that's why I choose to wear Eau Sauvage. That's number 9 on my list. All right. Number 8 on my list is a fragrance that I am bringing back from the past, another blast from the past. We are talking about, from the house of Cartier, Roadster. Now, Roadster, very unique bottle, as you can see from this sucker, and I've done a review on this. Sorry about that. Roadster is a fragrance that I wear primarily when it gets really hot. This fragrance is what I wear on the hottest of days. Why? Well, this fragrance has a minty-like finish and a minty-like scent to it. It smells like you're wearing spearmint or peppermint for it. The fragrance doesn't last too long, but I don't really need it to. I really go crazy on this one, and it kind of has a cooling effect, which is absolutely fantastic once it starts getting a little bit hot. And it really fits that bill for it, right? So, Cartier's Roadster, coming in at number 8. Now coming in at number 7 is a rather newer addition. It's one that I slept on. It's not a newer fragrance, but it's a newer addition to my arsenal. We are talking about Mugler Cologne. Now, Mugler Cologne, it serves as a little bit of a workhorse fragrance for me. I wear it primarily to work. I wear it a lot of times when I can't really think of anything else I can wear. Why? Well, I mean, look at how much that I have of this stuff. I've got a lot of this stuff, and I notice myself starting to skew fragrances. If I've got a lot of them, I'm just like, you know what, whatever. I'm just going to I'm going to throw on a ton of sprays, and I'm just going to go out. It's not a spray that's going to offend people. It's not going to cloy people out, even if you go 10, 20 sprays on this one. It's a very light fragrance that I really like for warmer weather and warmer climates for it. Fun note, I actually gave this one out at my wedding, little vials of it, and people absolutely loved it. People are still telling me that they thought that I picked out a good fragrance to kind of give away in the gift wedding bag to people. And so, good stuff all around. Mugler Cologne. Coming in at number 6, we have from the house of Chanel. We've got Chanel's Allure Homme Sport Extreme. Not the original, not Allure Homme Sport, the regular version, but we're talking about the extreme version. Now, this one is a fragrance that I like to wear at night. This is one of my night out fragrances that I wear, and this one has more power than Allure Homme Sport. It's also a little spicier than Allure Homme Sport. So it's still got that same kind of creamy, sporty vibe to it, but at the same time, but on the flip side, it does have a little bit more of a masculine presence, more of an assertive presence to it. So going out at night, this is one that I kind of throw on and choose to wear. Coming in at number 5, we have a fragrance from the house of Dolce & Gabbana. We've got Dolce & Gabbana's The One. Now this is the original bottle. I still have not been able to get my hands on and purchase the One Parfum version. I've got a bunch of big samples, and that's actually what I used to create my review, but I still haven't gotten my hands on the full bottle. Rest assured, it was in my list to buy, and that's what's coming up. But the reason I choose this one specifically is because it's got a dried fruits vibe, it's got a very fruity vibe, a little bit of a leathery vibe to it, and it's one that I like to wear going out when I don't want to stand out. So this is another going out fragrance, but it's one that's a little bit more subdued. Now, a lot of people have had longevity problems with this one. I have not. I've always had a good amount of longevity, and I mean like 6 to 8 hours with this one. It's good for me, and it does, produce a little bit of projection for me. It's not a huge amount of projection, but it's good enough for me. So number 5, we've got Dolce & Gabbana's The One. Number 4, we have a newer fragrance. This fragrance is from the house of Dior as well. We're talking about Sauvage. Now, earlier I mentioned Eau Sauvage, and this one is Sauvage. These are obviously 2 different fragrances, but they're named similar. So with Dior fragrances, you want to be tricky. There's so many Sauvages running around that you may accidentally buy the one that you're not looking for. Anyways, this one is a compliment magnet. I like to wear this one when I want to impress, basically. And it's a good fragrance. This is the one that has essentially supplanted Bleu de Chanel for its role. It's something that I wear when I absolutely and positively know that I want to smell good and I possibly want to get some compliments from people. Both Bleu de Chanel and this one do just as good, but I wanted to give this one a whirl this summer and put it out there. So that's why this sucker is at number 4. Excellent fragrance. Number 3 is another one from the house of Dior. This one, not as heralded as much, but I love it. We are talking about Dior Homme Cologne. Now, Dior Homme Cologne smells very similar to Dior Homme Sport to me. However, it lacks a little bit of a ginger vibe. So what you're talking about, you're getting a fragrance that has a little bit of a zestiness, citrus, clean, fresh, like a cologne almost, if you will. And because of it, I generally choose to wear this one all over. This is an all-around scent. Work, going out, working out, you name it. I feel that I can wear Dior Homme Cologne. One of the bad things is sometimes I've noticed it doesn't last as long on my skin, but for the most part, I'm still getting decent projection and decent longevity out of this one. So Dior Homme Cologne coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have a fragrance that my wife absolutely loves. I love it. I think it smells great. It's one that I wear, I guess you could say, in almost any scenario as well. It's another versatile fragrance that I wear all around. We are talking about Thierry Mugler's Ultra Zest. Ultra Zest, the orange bottle, you can't miss it. This is like Angel Men with oranges mixed in. So we're talking about chocolate, oranges, patchouli. We're talking about some vanilla that kind of comes in from it. and this one lasts on my skin, and it also projects a pretty good amount. It still has, I think, that orange and that zestiness kind of gives it the ability to perform in the summer to my liking, essentially. And that's one of the reasons why I love this fragrance so much. And it is at number 2. Number 1, we have another new addition. This, I have talked about it. If you followed my channel, you know I love this fragrance. Here it comes. We're talking about Terre de Hermès Eau Fraîche, or Eau Très Fraîche. Butchering that name more than likely. But either way, this one, think of Terre de Hermès, like that dirty, earthy type of a smell that has a little bit of like oranges and citrus. Imagine that, and then just throw in zestiness, this like uplifting, like upbeat scent, which is what you get with this one. I have been wearing this one like crazy. I've been wearing it all over the place. It may not look like it's dented much, but that's because I was using all of the samples that I had and used to, do my testing and everything like that. So that's the only reason why this isn't down like here. I've just been wearing the crap out of this one. I absolutely love it. I stand by it. This is my favorite fragrance right now for the summer from the designer side. Now, whether or not I wear it on Memorial Day, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've got another contender in mind, but all's fair in love and fragrance, if you will. All right, let me know what your scents. What scents are you guys wearing for this upcoming summer? Leave your list down below. Help people out. People come to these videos and they look at other people's comments to see what they're wearing as well too. So help everyone out. Do us all a favor. And again, I'm curious. All right. Thank you guys. Take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.